Welcome, everyone. Whenever I find myself bored at home with nothing else to watch, I always go to watch Merlin, a series I deeply bonded with. Not only does it share some magical moments, but each episode had me on the edge of my seat, craving for more. Merlin is a great show to watch for all ages, but it leans towards teens, and overall it has a magical feel to it. Whenever Whether from the actors to the staging, this show is awe-inspiring and worth it to watch. The show the show starts out by following Merlin, a boy with magic that he was born with. He doesn't know why that is, but he hopes that throughout the show he hopes to find out. But sadly, throughout the series, magic is known to be outlawed in Camelot, the location, and those who practice it are killed. At least that is how it is in the first few seasons because of King Uther, the said king of the kingdom. We never really know why that is until later on, but I recommend you watch the series to find out. The danger of knowing that if Merlin gets found out he would be killed always made me really fidgety whenever watching him use magic around others, especially if someone's about to walk through his door and he only has a quick moment to react, because I'm always afraid that he'll get caught. And not only that, but this whole rule of no magic just made me dislike Uther, especially whenever each time he is told about someone having magic, he instantly kills them. And yet, if his son is about to die, he immediately goes to try to save him with magic if that's the only option left. It's infuriating nonetheless. But Merlin gets by each time, thankfully, whether from luck or his friends. And Merlin made a lot of enemies throughout the series, but he also made a few friends he can rely on. They made fun of him at times, but he always managed to get them back one way or another, such as when the knights ended up eating the food that Merlin wanted to eat for himself during a trip when they were out hunting for someone with magic. And yet, that in turn saved Merlin and had him be the only one who could stop the said person with magic because of the fact that Merlin was able to put the guards were put to sleep through said person, and Merlin, due to the fact of not eating said food, never fell asleep. And that's all fun and dandy, but the main bond that I always enjoyed was Merlin with Arthur. They had a banter-like bond between the two, and it always amuses me, especially with the names they can come up with for one another, such as Royal Pratt, Clockpole, and many others that Merlin comes up with, and Arthur just retaliates by claiming how he's better than Merlin or how Merlin's too much of an idiot to be able to possess any magic or do anything that is like knowingly risky. But whenever he did use it, it was actually easier to tell when he did because his eyes would glow gold. And even as he began to learn more spells, the ways you could tell were easily put together because not only his eyes glowing gold after casting said spell, but also because compared to the rest of the words in this series, magic sounded as if it was from an ancient language that seems to have a limitless possibilities on what someone can do using it. But my it always brought questions to me as why did he have magic in the first place? Why was it never heard of having magic before or when you're born? And you would think this show would cover it, but so far throughout the show, it never left any clues as to how he was born with magic and why no one else was heard of to be able to possess the raw skills Merlin has. But honestly, that kind of brought it closer in a way because it made him feel like no matter what he did, he would never be like anyone else because he was born with magic. He was gifted magic before anyone else ever learned it. And it was interesting because the only people that he could really rely on to be similar to him was Kildare and other dragons, and yet Kildare was the only dragon left, and then he sadly grew older, and as time went on, Merlin was the only one who was truly old enough to understand it, and yet he didn't. And it was just, it's interesting, to say the least. And as I watched this show, I felt myself grow more and more attached to it. I felt each character grow on me as I had a sense of accomplishment whenever I finished an episode. This series was truly something to watch, especially if you enjoy drama, a little romance, friendships that grow as seasons progress, and if you enjoy the world of fantasy, it takes the spin on a tale that is folklore, and they made it their own story to show. All in all, I adored Merlin, and I would hope for others to see the magic that blooms inside the show. All it takes is for you to take a peek in the doorway and to see the land of Albion that will grow as you open said door further. And as I watched this show, I felt myself grow more and more attached to it. I felt each character grow on me as I had a sense of accomplishment whenever I finished an episode. This series was truly something to watch, especially if you enjoy drama, a little romance, friendships that grow as seasons progress, and if you enjoy the world of fantasy, it takes the spin on a tale that is folklore, and they made it their own story to show. All in all, I adored Merlin, and I would hope for others to see the magic that blooms inside the show. All it takes is for you to take a peek in the doorway and to see the land of Albion that will grow as you open said door further.